Frankie, thanks for joining us on the back of a great 3-0 win for the U21s at Crewe yesterday. Where does that rank in terms of the performances this season?
Quite high. We've on the back of 4 straight wins now, which is always pleasing. The results are important as well as the performances, but to have kept 2 clean sheets on the bounce now is very pleasing. And some of our approach play was excellent, and we're just missing the final touch at times.
You can see a progression in the performances and the results for the 21s group so far this season. What do you think the biggest areas of progression have been over this first couple of months?
I think the way we're passing the ball at the minute, you know, we have a purpose. We pass with intensity and good movement, and it's just that final touch now in the final third. But some of our approach play has been excellent.
It's been notable this season that there's only been 1 game out of the 8 where you've had overage outfielders in your team. What are the pros and cons of that, having such a young side out?
I think a young side, you can always play with the intensity and purpose that you always have. Whereas when you have senior players, you know, it's the intensity drops a little bit, and they obviously bring a vast amount of experience and sort of guide the young kids. So in that respect, having seniors around helps the young ones. Whereas the young ones, when they're playing with young ones, are just themselves. They try and play without fear, which is a great thing. You should never play with fear, but they play with an intensity and purpose.
You can see from the speaking to the group of players that you have, and even their activity on social media, that there's a real unity with this group of players that you've got at the moment. They're very proud of the results they're getting and the performances they're putting in. Yeah,
and so they should be. I can't tell you how pleased I was with them on Sunday, because the training was probably the best I've seen them. They were zipping the ball around, and it was excellent, and I just wanted them to transfer that into the game on Monday. And again, you know, some of our approach play was excellent.
It's been notable this season that 3 of the academy scholars, I'm thinking Rakeel Pike, Regan Booty and Jacob Hansen, have played most of their football with your group this season. Just explain the reasons behind that.
Well, it's sort of their 3rd year at under-18s football. People forget that they were playing 18s football as schoolboys. So to keep them challenged, you know, they need to play with older boys and against older opposition, albeit, you know, results may suffer, especially for the 18s if they're missing from the 18s team, but also with the 21s, because they will make mistakes. They're young. Hopefully they'll learn from those mistakes and, you know, eventually cut them out and hopefully progress into the first team.
I suppose the big question, obviously, the group and your job is to eventually develop these players for our first team. Without naming names, how far off do you think some of the guys under your charge at the moment are from making that step? Well,
like you said, we've had a couple on the bench. I think Phillips had half a game, came on at Charlton, did very well by all accounts. But that's our academy's next challenge. You know, we're striving for this to happen. We're willing it to happen, but ultimately the boys have to be good enough. And that will come from the manager. The manager's in and around them, training sessions. He's at the games. I think he watched the Charlton game when we were away, where we were very good. And on the back of that, I think Flo and Philip got into the first team squad, which is pleasing. But obviously the next step is getting someone in there, and they have to stay there. But ultimately they have to be good enough.
And you'll know as well as anyone that it is a big jump from 21s level football to the Sky Bet Championship. What can you do in your capacity to prepare them for that jump? Or is there anything you can do?
Well, we keep doing what we're doing. We're working so hard. We're trying all sorts of things. Recently we go to a boxing gym on Tuesday afternoon because we feel some of them need toughening up, which is quite good. And it's a bit of bonding as well, you know, and they've taken it all on board. We just need some of them to be a bit more aggressive in the right way on the football pitch, and express themselves a little bit better. But we work. They need to be consistent in the work that they're doing. They need to be consistent with their performances, and hopefully that will entail a slot in the first team squad.
It must be a great asset for you as their leader, that you can say to them, if you perform, you'll get the chance to show what you can do on that level, like Philip has, like Flo's been in the periphery, like Jacob Hansen was earlier in the season.
Yeah.
You can see the path there.
I think it's pleasing that because the manager sees them in training and watches some of the performances, if they play well, they get invited to go and train with that first team squad, and then anything can happen, you know. We say boys need opportunity, but when they go across, they need to take that opportunity. And hopefully, you know, one day the manager will come and say, right, he's ready, you know, which would be great for the club and the academy.